Let me dwell upon this in some detail. First and foremost is the fact that our target is the headline inflation, where food inflation has a weight of about 46%. With this high share of food in the consumption basket, food inflation pressures cannot be ignored. Further, public at large understands inflation more in terms of food inflation than the other components of headline inflation. Therefore, we cannot and should not become complacent merely because core inflation has fallen considerably. Second, and equally important, is the reality that high food inflation adversely affects household inflation expectations, which have a significant impact on future trajectory of inflation. Household inflation expectations, after witnessing a moderating trend between May 2022 and September 2023, have edged up on the back of high food inflation since November 2023. Persistently high food inflation and unanchored inflation expectations, if they materialize, could lead to spillovers to core inflation through pickup in wages on cost of living considerations. This in turn could be passed on by firms in the form of higher prices for services as well as goods, especially in a scenario of strong aggregate demand. Third, these behavioral changes can then result in overall inflation becoming sticky even after food inflation recedes. The MPC, to summarize, what these points which I was mentioning about the importance of food inflation and how high persistent food inflation can spill over to core and to the headline. Let me just summarize this part by saying that the MPC may look through high food inflation if it is transitory. But in an environment of persisting high food inflation, as we are experiencing now, the MPC cannot afford to do so. It has to remain vigilant to prevent spillovers or second round effects from persistent food inflation and preserve the gains made so far in monetary policy credibility. Now, overall, as I have said in my statement and as the numbers would speak, overall the inflation trajectory has been moderating and we do expect it to moderate. But the pace of moderation has been uneven and slow. So therefore, we need to be watchful to ensure that we move to closer to 4% and the CPI inflation gets aligned to the 4% target on a durable basis. That indeed would be the best contribution which monetary policy can make to support economic growth in the country.